Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den. And in this episode, I want to talk to you guys about being you. And I know that this sounds like super cheesy. I know it's like we've heard it all before. It's like so cliche, but this is so major laser. And this is what I've learned just in this season as I really, peel back the layers of myself, work on myself, work on healing, work on the disruptive patterns that I've held on to, right? Those cycles. And it's all really been mental for me because I am somebody who's highly analytical, right? So that's been my biggest thing. But here's what I've learned, especially when it comes to people. You have to be you. Like, it doesn't matter if you are someone who is highly educated and you speak eloquently and you love knowledge and conversation and all things intellectualism, right? Or you're somebody who's not so trained and, okay, when I say trained, I mean like, let me say skilled. I'll say skilled. You're not so skilled in a certain area and you may speak this way, or, you're somebody who wears makeup, or you're somebody who doesn't like to wear makeup, or, whatever you do, whatever your thing is, especially in regards to your personality. I've learned that you need to just be you and let the chips fall where they may, right? There have been many times where, we kind of feel like, okay, maybe I should change these things about myself, right? I need to grow. I need to change. But I really believe that when it comes to the growth, it's more so about allowing, right? I think growth is allowance, right? Like, it's allowing the process to take place. And when we talk about process, it's more so learning things along the way that change you, right? It's inviting those experiences into your life that change you. And, hopefully it's ultimately for the better, right? But at the end of the day, it's allowing, So, for example, there's been things that well, first of all, everybody's on social media, right? We see things, we see the memes, we see everybody's getting on here with these platforms and this advice and yada, yada, yada. So we see all of that, right? And so what happens is, we start to take on this knowledge, or this information rather, that isn't necessarily ours. So it's not always palliative in a way. And so I think a lot of times, we will be in a space where we think we've experienced something and we try to take on that knowledge or that information from that particular experience and try to apply it to our own lives. But the thing is, we don't know how to apply it, right? So typically what it is like most experiences and most people that you see, and they are the way they are, right? They have a platform. They're sharing this information with you. It's because they've been through certain things and their experiences have shaped them. So what happens is when you take on that information, and sometimes when you try to apply it to your own life, you know what I mean? It's not really applicable. It's not really applicable. You know what I mean? Because it's like you have to learn that on your own time. You have to go through those processes just like, you know what I mean? And learn it on your own. And so I think that's probably like the biggest thing that I definitely want to share with people. But yeah, man, I've learned for myself. I've learned the art of adaptability. Now, that is something I have learned. And when we talk about adaptability, it's, those things that are not necessarily pleasant, right? So, like, if you're somebody who is for example, when you go to work, that at work, you're going to have to be in a space where you're, social, you're willing to be a team player, whatever, right? But at work, at the end of the day, you still have to be you, right? And here's what I've learned, like, okay, and I'm not really, okay, honestly, I'm not even going to really say at work. I'm talking, like, when I talk about work, you guys, I'm really just talking about work as far as adaptability in life, right? And even like being in a relationship too, because I think in relationships, I heard this lady say that it wasn't necessarily like sacrifice or like major compromise, right? Because you are who you are, but it was like certain adjustments you would have to make, right? Because you're with the person and it's, it's completely different. But I'm not here to talk about relationships. So anyways, I've learned that for myself, whenever I've changed something about me, like I know for me, I'm a very kind person and I'm like bubbly and, I love being all those things and I love talking to people and making friends, but it's when I want to invite you in. It's when I decide, right? Like I'm not somebody who is super like overly nice and I've never been that way, but I tried to change and be that, right? And let me tell you what I've learned. They don't like me either way. They don't care either way. Like I've learned that anytime you've tried to change yourself to be something that you're not, right? And anytime you've shown up for the person that you are, and the person you've always been, right? Those core things that make you you, that make you unique, you're always going to have people who don't like you. You're always going to have somebody who has something to say. There's always going to be somebody. They tell you, oh, you wear too much makeup. You tone it down. Oh, my God, why are you wearing makeup? You wear no makeup. Oh, my God, you just look so blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, and I use makeup as an example just to kind of show you guys, like, it really, like, you really just have to be you. Be you at the end of the day. Because somebody's always going to have something to say. You know, people talk about, oh, they have something to say whether you're doing good or bad. They have something to say whether you're doing you or pretending. Like, it doesn't really make a difference, you know. And so that's something that I've learned for myself. And at the end of the day, I've learned the piece of just letting the chips fall where they may. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, anytime that you really are pretending to be something that you're not, it shows up. The mask is always removed, and it shows up, and it always will, because that's who you are, and you really can't hide that. You know, I mean, I do think if you've done it for so long, then like maybe you could possibly hide some parts of your personality that just like fade over time, and you look up and you're like, who am I? You know what I mean? And sometimes that does happen in life, especially when we have certain experiences that are like extremely life altering, right? I definitely think our personalities can kind of change and be morphed into something different. But the beautiful thing about God and God's grace and his love and just all of those things is so sufficient that God will send you somebody, right? Or show you something that will remind you of the parts that you've kind of shut off from yourself, that you've loved so dearly, you know, and he'll teach you how to cultivate that and to nourish those parts of you, you know what I mean? And really renew you and rebirth yourself and bring yourself back to life. So that's a beautiful thing about God. But yeah, at the end of the day, do you. Okay, you can always rebirth, right? You know, you can always become better. But at the end of the day, you are who you are, and that's all you'll ever be. I know for me, I've always been somebody who's been very direct in communication. I'm silly. I'm very witty. You know what I mean? Like that's just me, and that'll always be me, right? That just will always be me. So, you know, there's really nothing that's gonna, you know, that is really gonna like knock that off. You know what I mean? Like, I am who I am, right? And I'll always be that way. So yeah, you guys, I just wanted to share that. Do you? And I'll leave you guys with your thoughts.